I'm so much of a P, man, it's sick as some. The first P you think of when they mention one. One thing that's for sure through the joy and I heard, I done learned a few things since it shit begun. A P gotta know how to check itself. Chicks don't respect who don't respect theyself. Even though this shit's popular, having whole partners, P, you for surely gonna wreck yourself. Let's go.
Bitch, you want all this pimping you can't afford. Perform like a punk, but wanna win his reward. Some suckers give you points, but bitch, you never scored. If you ain't paying pimping, then bitch, you getting ignored. Okay, I'm so sick of these.
You know, we live in a very colorful time, a very interesting time, a very complex time, a very spontaneous time, a time that just crept up on a lot of us, and a lot of us didn't even have time to prepare to adjust to these times and live in these times and maintain ourselves within these times. See, now the younger people, certain things are to be expected. Certain things are no surprise as far as certain behaviors, certain outlooks, certain ideologies, so on and so forth when it comes to today's times, because this is really all you know. But for those of us that are a little older to much older and beyond, it's a very different time. See, me, I'm one of the last generations of people who can recall a time as a young adult. From childhood to young adulthood, I recall a time where social media wasn't everything. It wasn't nearly as interactive as it is now. There was no such thing as going live. There was no posting pictures. Well, I remember a time when it wasn't even no posting no pictures. But social media was very primitive in its early stages compared to now. And because it was so primitive, it wasn't so interactive. It wasn't a whole lot to do on there like it is now. So it didn't consume so much of your time. It didn't consume so much of your thoughts. It didn't have as much of an impact on you, so on and so forth, right? So, you know, I can recall a time as a young adult, from my childhood to my young adulthood, when things were that way. So because I can recall that time, there's a lot of differences in the way just people in general saw things and responded to the things that they saw versus today's times, right? And you know, the world went through a drastic change, especially in America. I'll say America in particular. We went through a drastic change when social media came and swept our world the way it did. You know, it's very different now. And a lot of people, they just kind of go with the flow. And within going with the flow, a lot of people lose themselves. So I say all of that to say, when it comes to this pimping, a lot of us have lost certain aspects of ourselves getting swept up in this social media wave. You know, and a part of it is because there's so much abundance. There's no regulation to the abundance. And when I say abundance, I'm talking about, you know, chicks that you can get at, chicks that can get at you, chicks that you exposed to, chicks that are exposed to you. It's just so much abundance with it. You know, most of us don't think, most of us aren't mindful to regulate it, because back again to a time where social media wasn't what it is now, where 9 times out of 10 when you met somebody, you had to go outside, so on and so forth, right? You know, the pimping, we moved a certain way, we carried things a certain way, and it was a lot of things that we didn't do. And one of the things that we never ever supposed to do as the pimping back then versus now and any time in between is be friends with hoes. Pimps are not meant to be friends with hoes. Pimps do not befriend hoes. Pimps don't befriend hoes. We don't befriend hoes. That's not what we do. And if you ask any real pimp that, that's going to be his response. Oh, hell no, I ain't friends with no bitch. I ain't friends with no hoe. I ain't friends with no chick. I ain't friends with no female. Hell no. Either she fucking with me and I'm mashing on her, mashing for my ration, or it ain't nothing at all. I ain't got no hoe partners. Ain't no such thing as a pimp having a hoe partner. Any pimp that you ask this or talk to about this, they gonna pretty much say the same thing. You know, pimps are colorful individuals. Pimps are charismatic, creative, you know what I mean, whimsical, eloquent individuals. So everybody is gonna have their different flavor as how they communicate it, but it's all pretty much gonna be the same thing. Pimps are not supposed to be friends with hoes. But a lot of these guys who would say that to you are actually actively, daily being friends with hoes, and they don't even realize it. They're not even mindful of what they're doing. That's why I say they've got wrapped up in the wave. They got caught up in the wave. The wave swept them off their feet, and a lot of them don't even know what to do. Honestly, I've fallen victim to that myself. I've caught myself. Like I said, pimp gotta know how to check himself. I found myself being too friendly with hoes, or being in situations on social media where the temperature of pimping is just too low. The temperature of the game is just too low. The temperature of hoeing is just too low. And see, what a lot of people don't understand is when the temperature of the pimping is low, the temperature of the game is low. Naturally, the temperature of the temperature of the hoeing is gonna be low. You dig? So, because hoes, they're gonna do one of two things: what they're prompted to do or what they're allowed to do. And if they're not prompted to turn up the hoeing, they're allowed to turn down the hoeing. So this is what happens on social media. You know, a lot of cats is just a common, typical thing in today's times to go live with hoes. Pimps who got hoes fucking with them, going live with other hoes who ain't fucking with them. Some of these hoes got folks. Some of these hoes don't have folks. Some of these chicks are renegades. But whatever the case, it's just a customary thing now for guys and girls in the game to go live with each other, and it don't have nothing to do with this chick choosing up with this guy. The conversation don't have nothing to do with that. The intentions between both individuals don't have anything to do with them, you know, coming together on some pimping and hoeing. You know, and that's bad for business. That's bad for the game. It's bad for the culture. Because again, you know, what's basically happening is the pimping, we've conformed to the nature of social media, to the point where we've lost our own nature in so many ways as the pimping. You know, because the nature of social media is to interact with people freely all the time, you know, and it don't matter what the terms is or whatever the case may be, right? But again, when the pimping is moving in the nature of a pimp, you're gonna be mindful, like, hold on, man, this ain't how the pimping's supposed to be. You know, pimping's supposed to have some exclusivity about himself. Everybody isn't supposed to be able to just access the pimping whenever they want. A chick shouldn't be able to just have a full conversation for as long as she would like to with the pimping, and don't have no intentions on paying them, and the pimping don't have no intentions on breaking her, and they not talking about none of that. And this chick she just has access to so many different P's. Just about every piece she want to have access to, she got access to them. She can have DM conversations. She can go live with them and chop it up. She could call them on social media, because you could do that. You could video call somebody. You could phone call somebody. The accessibility is just too free to the young ladies in the game. you know, when it comes to dealing with the P's in the game. You know, so it's up to the pimping to tighten up. Pimping got to tighten up, man. I'm telling you this because, as y'all know, I've stepped back from social media for the most part. YouTube and Patreon is really gonna be my only social media at this point in time. But stepping back from it and being a spectator, not being involved, it really brought things into perspective as far as like I said, the temperature of the game, the temperature of the pimping and hoeing is just too low. Now, certain individuals I can understand, because some people that go live with these females, you know, they can monetize it and it can turn into something, you know, like, you know, he's not in the game, but to use him as an example, Kevin Samuels, he goes live with females all the time, but it translates into currency for him. It translates into money for him. And, you know, a lot of P's in the game have this same potential to monetize themselves one way or the other, going live with these females in the game. So that's understandable. But to just be having a conversation or just be live with a chick and y'all ain't talking about nothing, y'all just on there looking at each other looking stupid, and you just not like, the conversation ain't progressive at all. It's not constructive at all. It's just y'all looking at each other, probably drinking and smoking, looking stupid. You know what I mean? Can't even smell each other's badass breath from smoking, but your breath stank, his breath stank, her breath stank, everybody's breath stank, and they just sitting there looking stupid, you know, and the conversation ain't going nowhere. You know, that is nonsense. And, you know, pimping, last time I checked, man, pimping ain't into nonsense. Pimping don't involve himself in senseless activities. That's just not what we do, man. So yeah, man, pimping, tighten up, man. Just food for thought. I'm not saying don't talk to hoes on social media. I'm not saying don't talk to females in the DM. I'm not saying don't go live with females. I'm saying make it make sense. Be smarter. Operate in the spirit of pimping on social media. You know what I mean? Utilize social media. Don't let social media utilize you and you ain't getting nothing out of it. Make it make sense, pimp. Let that marinate on your mind one time. Freezes it. As always, put some of this good old love juice in your body like so. Holla.
Now come and take a sip of this game. Pour it down your ear and let it drip to your brain so you can run it up, run it up. And we'll be coming up, really coming up. Take a sip of this game, let it saturate your brain. Taylor, make your homework so we can match it with my name. Then attach it to your frame, right? Now you game tight. You gon' check her back the same night. Now you breaking tricks and handling thousands, while these bitches on the blade doing the mannequin challenge. Standing there looking stupid cause they has no game to hit a trick with, bitch, and that's so lame. Now come and take a sip of